Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be here and to have you here to our Friday presentation of Avini Health. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful day, and I can't wait to get started. So last week, I want to do a tiny little recap of last week. Last week, we talked about the lifespan and the health span. And you guys, those of you who were here might remember that from 1960 to today, this changed a bit. The lifespan changed quite a bit from about 65 years to 79 years, but our health span really didn't change much, and we looked quite a bit into that. And today, I wanted to look into a different topic, which actually relates to that. I announced a little bit about that, so let's look in here. I don't see, can you guys see my screen? No, this is not the screen. Okay, let's try this again. Sorry about that. Here we go. Here, that's the right screen. See, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so today we are going to talk in the beginning a little bit about our modern epidemic problem in the whole world, but it's actually even worse in the United States. It's about obesity and diabetes. It really is an epidemic. Obesity and diabetes are major cause of morbidity and mortality in the United States. So let's check a little bit into that. It also affects the entire health care expenditures. Makes 9.4% of the entire costs. And each year, an estimated 300,000 US adults die of causes related to obesity. I think that's a really shocking number. There are 300 and how many million American? That's a big percentage. I was pretty shocked when I saw that. Anyway, so let's see how that changed in this time frame. In around 1960, 1962, the CDC estimated that 13% of adults were obese, and that changed quite a bit towards today, or let's say 2017 to 2018. The CDC saw this number up to which nearly tripled to about 43%. So from 13 to 43%. Let's look into kids. In 1971 to 1974, the CDC estimated that about 5% of children were obese, and in 2020, this number almost quadrupled to over 19%. I think that's a shocking number. I mean, I don't know how you see that. To me, it's like 19%, that's 1/5 of the kids are obese. Wow. Morbid obesity is also up like crazy. So that's 1960, 1962 was less than 1% of the Americans were morbidly obese. In 2017 to 2019, this number was up 10 times to nearly 10%. So that's 1 of 10 person in the United States is morbidly obese. That's crazy, at least in my opinion. I don't know how you guys see that. Can I get a nodding? Okay, fantastic. And guess what? Obesity is in many, many cases related to diabetes. And guess what? The diabetes numbers in the United States are up as well. They're up worldwide, but we look into the United States. So 1960, we had 1.8% of the population were diabetic. In 2000, the prevalence went up to 5.8%. And in 2019, it's up to 8%. So I don't know, but to me, it's like, wow, the trend is so obvious. And I mean, if we don't start doing something about it, we can see where this goes. It goes up and up and up. This is all from the National Library of Medicine, so that's not me saying that. Epidemiological studies demonstrated an association between heavy metals and organic pollutant exposure and the incidence of obesity and metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome includes obesity and diabetes. I put the organic pollutants in parenthesis because they named that in the second sentence, but they have a second sentence about both the organic and the heavy metal exposure. So that's pretty, you can look this up. I put the link down here if you're interested. I thought that that's really interesting. So being overweight or obese has to do with heavy metal exposure and organic pollutant exposure, and then leading to diabetes. It's not necessarily clear, or to me, has not been right away clear that that's connected. I want to play a real quick, short YouTube for you guys about the food in America. Here's one example: mac and cheese in the United States and cheesy pasta. I invite you to count the ingredients in the United States and the ingredients in the UK. Just go through and count the ingredients and see what we have here and what's going on in Europe. It's like, I mean, this is insane. And we see the max we need is what's in the UK. We don't need all the other stuff that's in the United States, right? And even in the UK, there is stuff in, it's like E339. There are stuff we already don't really know. Do we need that? Don't we need that? Beta carotene. Okay, that's okay. That gives us some orange color. It's not too bad. But if you look into the American side and the US side, it's pretty shocking what's in there. So let me play this real quick. I hope it's gonna play fine.
Ever wondered why Fanta orange tastes and looks different in the US and the UK? In the next few seconds, you'll learn the surprising differences. UK Fanta gets its color from carrots, pumpkins, and orange fruit. US Fanta uses dyes like red 40 and yellow 6. There's about 3 times as much sugar in the US version. The US Fanta contains high fructose corn syrup instead of regular sugar, and there's no orange juice in American Fanta. Stay informed and start removing toxins today. Like what you see? Subscribe for more.
Were you able to hear that fine? Yeah? Okay, good. I have one more. We have the Quaker's Oat with berries. Hold on, I can't even see that. And again, I invite you to count the ingredients. I did already. We have 30 ingredients in the US version. We have 8 ingredients in the UK version. I have a little video for the Quaker's Oat. Let's watch that real quick. It's less than a minute, so we can do that real quick.
We live in a toxic world everywhere, but the situation in the US is even more dire than in many other places. The shocking truth about US Quaker oatmeal. Can you guess which breakfast is healthier? In the next few seconds, let's compare US and UK berries oatmeal. The US version has over 30 ingredients. Many of them are not just unnecessary, but unhealthy or even toxic. It includes artificial flavors and colors like red 40 and artificial strawberry flavor. You'll also find sodium sulfite, palm oils, high in saturated fat, and several additives. Now let's look at the UK version. It features Quaker whole grain rolled oats as the main of the only 8 ingredients. No artificial flavors or colors in sight. Real dried strawberries instead. The focus is on natural ingredients and simplicity. Clearly, the UK's option leans towards a more natural and healthier approach. The choice would be clear and easy, if we had one. Crucial to stay informed and safely and effectively remove toxins from the body with the only micronized and activated clinoptilolite zeolite on the market. Like what you see? Subscribe for more. HolisticSpotlight.com. Holistic begins with an H.
All right, I thought that might be interesting to everyone to see the situation. I mean, and that doesn't mean that there are no toxins in other countries. It just seems to me it's a little worse here than even in Europe. And I know the situation in Europe. As you can hear, I am from Europe. I'm a pharmacist from Europe, so I know what's going on there as well. And it's not good. All right, let's look into the situation of toxins. A toxin is a chemical substance which damages an organism. And the question is, are you toxic? And yes, the environment is making us sick. It's making us fat. It's making us losing vitality and energy. We have heavy metals and other chemicals. The heavy metals, many of you or all of you knows, most of the heavy metals, arsenic, mercury, lead, cadmium and mercury and many more. And then we have the chemicals, which are the forever chemicals, volatile organic compounds, pesticides, herbicides. Many of those toxins are endocrine disrupting chemicals. We have microplastics, and I always like to remind us that all the plastic we humans ever produced, all of that is still on this planet. Many of it is broken down into small plastic particles, microplastic, or even nanoplastics, but it's still there. And we have a plastic patch in the Pacific Ocean of double the size of Texas. Another pretty shocking number. There are over 86,000 environmental toxins, and the EPA has had the power to regulate harmful chemicals under the Toxin Substance Control Act since 1976, but it has only banned 9 out of 86,000 environmental toxins. One of those banned ones is DDT, and just 8 others. 8 billion pounds of toxic chemicals are released into the environment yearly, including 72 million pounds of known carcinogens. The sources are very common. We don't get around it, even if we don't buy the regular food, even if we go to an organic food store, try to buy organic food, it's really everywhere. It's in the soils, it's in the cookware, in the nonstick cookware. It's in our drinking water, including the plastic of the drinking water bottles. It's in the weed killers and pesticides. It has been in the past, and I think some of us might still have amalgam fillings with mercury. It is in the car exhaust. I mean, you can read yourself. It's really everywhere. It's in lipstick. It's in our cosmetics. Here's a little bit of a diagram where you can see where all the heavy metals come from and where they go to. So they're in the soil, in the water, in the groundwater, in the atmospheric decomposition. And it gets into our body through the skin, through inhalation and ingestion, all the ways that are possible. Heavy metals can lead to the following things like dizziness, nausea, pulmonary disease, gastrointestinal disease, impaired voluntary muscle function, anemia, bone damage, liver disease, kidney damage, and skin irritation. And I myself had quite a bit of skin irritation. I do remember that, a lot of skin itch in the past. Heavy metals have been found in some of the dark chocolates as well. And we were told, eat dark chocolate, that's so much healthier and gives us antioxidants. But yeah, you got to really be aware which dark chocolate, because you see the levels of many of those are really shockingly high, way higher than supposed. So we even here in an organic dark chocolate, right? This one has 204% more than we are supposed to get. Mercury poisoning is also linked to skin products. This is here from the US Food and Drug Administration. Federal health officials are warning consumers not to use skin cream, beauty and antiseptic soap or lotions that might contain mercury. Do we know which one contains mercury? I would say not always, right? We don't always know. Really, really be cautious about sunscreens, especially cheap sunscreens can contain a lot of toxins, including heavy metals, and yeah, especially dangerous for our little ones. Here we see the forever chemicals. Their name is forever chemicals because they stay in our bodies forever. They never change, and we can get rid of them by ourselves. They just stay there if we don't do anything about it. They can lead to many, many different health conditions, which you can see on this side, for thyroid disease, increased cholesterol levels, which also has to do again with obesity, liver damage, kidney cancer, testicular cancer, and many more things. We also see here the effect on our little ones, our future little ones. Just to recap, effects are on all levels of our body. The effects our entire cellular health, which of course includes the mitochondria, the DNA, our nervous system, our bones, blood sugar. Here we go towards diabetes again. Blood pressure, of course, we already talked about obesity. It has an impact on our enzymes and our hormonal system, our endocrine system, and of course, our immune health and the digestive system. So the big question always remains, do we have to get sick before we care about our health? What do you guys think? I would say no. Let's get started, see what happens if we wait. I'm going to show you what happens if you are going to wait until you get sick. So let's look what happens when good cells go bad. And let's start with the youngest, or with the first problem. Many couples today can't even get pregnant anymore. We have high infertility rates. Another number I have here for you guys: in 1960, infertility was at a level of 7 to 8%. In 2021, infertility was up to about 30% worldwide. That's another shocking number, and it's very much linked to heavy metals and disrupting body cells, hormone system, and genetic makeup. So more couples are struggling to have children, and if they have children, the birth defects are way up. And also what's way up are things like ADHD, autism, and even epilepsy. And it affects both men and women. It's not just the egg cell, it's also the sperms that are highly affected by the pollutants. And nowadays, children are already born with a high number of toxins in their body. Scientists have found that 200 of the toxins a mother has in her body go through to the baby. So in the cord were found in average 280 toxins, and in the unborn baby, 200 different industrial chemical pollutants and pesticides and heavy metals. And that leads to abnormal development, can lead to brain and nervous system problems, which we already said can lead to autism, to ADHD and epilepsy and many more things, and even cancer in kids. There is look it up on Google, autism and heavy metals. Check it out. You will see that the research has linked exposure to heavy metals like cadmium, lead, arsenic, and mercury with a higher risk of ASD in kids. And it's in the air, it's in the fertilizers, and it gets into us from the soil, from the water, and from the food chain. We cannot avoid it completely. Heavy metal exposure contributes to mental health illness in general, any age, not just children. It includes depression, anxiety, and depression, anxiety are often linked, bipolarity and schizophrenia. It affects the brain because it affects the cells. So if it affects the cells, it also affects the nerve cells. So it can induce neuroinflammation and oxidative stress. It disrupts the balance within the neuronal circuits, and it leads to nerve and cell damage or even death. It can cause significant fluctuation in hormone levels, and our hormone levels in general are a really, really fine-tuned thing. And if we disrupt that, it has big effects on our entire system. It also alters the neurotransmitter activity, and it affects our serotonin and dopamine levels. And we all know serotonin and dopamine are highly, they are totally necessary for our mood and the regulation of our cognitive function as well. Depression, by definition, is a low serotonin level. Okay, let's get to what really can help. I had a little introduction in my, I think I messed up the order of my slides. Okay, let's get to this first.
This is Thane Shively. Love being here. I love sharing the stories of neurological divergent children, specifically with autism. That's exactly what I first started off with. That was my first product experience, was with our own son. But what I wanted to share with you today is a wonderful story about a little boy by the name of Artis. Artis, at the time I met him a year ago, was 6 years of age. He was diagnosed as one of the most violent autistic cases that they had actually seen in Southeast Idaho for all of 30 years. So much so that they were actually going to remove him out of his family because of the fact that he had hurt his older sisters and he had hurt his mother. And they decided that the only way that they could really protect his two older sisters and his mom was to remove him if he had another violent outburst and they could not control him. And through divine intervention, I was able to connect with Brad and Alexa, Artis's mother and stepdad. And we ended up getting Artis on Cell Defender. And within the first couple days, the school teachers there at school noticed that Artis was not violent anymore. He wasn't pulling off his clothes. He wasn't urinating in the corner in the class. He was keeping his clothes on, but yeah, he was more alert and attentive to his surroundings. And here's a little boy that never interacted with anybody. If you were to call his name, he never stopped, never acknowledged, never engaged in eye conversation, was non-vocal for all the 6 years of his life. By Thursday, okay, so we're looking at 4 days in, usually he would go into his mother's bedroom and would make all sorts of noise and scream and moan and groan kind of thing to try and wake up his mother. And Thursday morning, he walked into his mom's bedroom. And he had done it like he had done it so many times before, but in fact, this was his first time. He walked into his mother's bedroom and he pointed one by one and he said, eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Those were his first 4 words. He ventured into the living room, and while he was in the living room, he took his finger on the couch and one by one started drawing shapes on the cushion with his finger on the couch, and he was naming them one by one as he did so. By Friday, he was a complete and total different child. He sat down for the first time ever in school, and of course with help, but he wrote his name at the top of his paperwork for the first time ever and blew everybody away. Okay, this is 1 week's time frame. I'm not saying it happens for every neurodivergent child or autistic child, but within that 1 week's time frame, he was more calm, cool, and collected. He was actually engaging in eye contact. He was speaking, and he was starting to acknowledge shapes and family members. Okay, so flash forward 1 year of taking the product. At this point in time, he was potty trained, which was something that they said would never happen, but yet he is. He used to, whenever he would get indoors, he would strip off all of his clothes. He just didn't like the texture, feel of clothes. It was too much overstimulating for him. But now he's keeping his clothes on. At one point in time, I actually got a very short video from Artis where he was in a very warm, loving embrace with his aunt. And as his aunt was kissing him on the forehead, you could audibly hear Artis say to his aunt, "I love you." And so now Artis is not only engaging in communication, but he's also sharing his thoughts and feelings. But I went over to Artis's house, actually Brad and Alexa's house, not too long ago to catch up with them. And while I was there, I got an opportunity to see Artis actually playing with the toys that he had received from Christmas just a few months ago with his older sister. And as I sat there and marveled at the fact that Artis and his sister were playing together, his sister paused for a second and looked up at me and says, "I couldn't do this a year ago because touching anything that belonged to Artis would enrage Artis. And I was the child," here's his sister saying, "I was the child that Artis beat up the most." And here they were sitting down, playing together with toys that Artis had received from Christmas. So here we are, about a year and 3-4 months into this experience of, again, a child that was so violently autistic that he was, quote, the worst case that they had seen in 30 years. And here he is now, acting like a functioning 6-year-old little boy inside this family unit. Well, actually, he's 7 now. He's had a birthday since. But these products are absolutely stunning, marvelous, and wonderful.
So yeah, I thought that's like such an amazing testimony we hear here. All right, it was supposed to be in a different order, but that's fine too. I think everybody felt some goosebumps. Did you? I certainly did. All right, heavy metals do DNA damage, and that's all according to the NIH. That's not my invention. They do DNA damage. They do epigenetic changes. They do oxidative stress. And similar with pesticides, chemicals in pesticides can cause cancer by interfering with hormones, damaging DNA, causing inflammation, and doing so much more damage to our bodies. But that's not all. Today we looked into one more topic. Next week I will pick another one. I don't know which one yet, but I will find something. There are so many. So what I would like to invite you again is check it out, try it out on Google, and find a disease you don't want to have and add heavy metals or pesticides or anything you can think of to it and see if there is a correlation. I will guarantee you there is one. I would even bet. But that's not all. It's not just about all these horrific, terrible diseases we can get. It's also these little nagging issues. Like I said, I had this itchy skin for decades, so dry and itchy. So it's about these nagging discomfort and dis-ease like chronic things as well, like insomnia, mood changes, menopause symptoms, memory changes or memory issues, low energy, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and so much more, the weight gain. We spoke about obesity. All this is linked, can be linked or is linked to our pollution. And I know myself, I shared, I'm a pharmacist. I have been working as a pharmacist and health consultant in pharmacies in Germany for 35 years or more than that. And everything I was preaching was you got to eat right, you got to exercise, you move, you got to walk, do your steps, and take the supplements you need. And well, we will age, right? And probably at some point we might get sick, but at least eat the right food, take your supplements and exercise. But yeah, that's really not helping to some extent, but that's not really it, because we can neither rid our modern world of its pollution nor outnutrition or body burden. It's impossible. But the good news is Avini Health has a solution for your body's pollution. And we saw this beautiful testimony, what can happen if this young boy artist when he got the toxins taken out of his body, how he changed. What a great testimony. And we see a few more things that can happen when bad cells go good again, because we can rid them of the toxins. Our body was created perfectly prepared to heal ourselves. And what we are doing with removing the heavy metals and toxins from our body is reactivating our natural healing. And the problem is, if you look around with all the detoxifications we have seen for decades, it's not working. It leaves us with detoxification symptoms like flu-like symptoms, nausea, flu, and more discomfort. So we need to find something, and we found something. We are blessed. We found something that safely and effectively captures, contains, and removes the heavy metals and toxins from our body. So let's look into this and let's start to grow young. And that's Cell Defender. Cell Defender is a clinoptilolite zeolite. It captures, contains, and removes all these toxins from our bodies, and it does it easily, safely, and effortlessly. We have 15 clinical studies, which is amazing. Most companies are happy if they have one clinical study. We have 15. It is actually nature's purifier, but we have it in advanced form thanks to Rick Deitch. It's a activated micronized clinoptilolite zeolite, trademarked as detoxolite, and it's ready to remove everything chemical that doesn't belong in your body. over 8 million bottles have been sold in the past 20 years. And we have just in the last 2 years, over 1,400 testimonials. And now we have Rick Deitch explain it himself because he can do it much better than I could ever do it.
Hi, my name's Rick Deitch. I'm a biochemist, and I'm a little different in the field because I'm both a nutritional and a pharmaceutical biochemist. What I want to talk to you about today is natural zeolites. So first of all, what are zeolites? So zeolites are naturally occurring compounds. They're formed usually in volcanic eruptions when the ash and lava goes into salt water, and over thousands and thousands of years through heat and pressure form crystalline lattices, a crystal shape that becomes a natural zeolite. So zeolites are unique for a variety of reasons. First of all, they form a cage-like structure. If you saw this crystal, it's got a lot of space inside. Now, not only does it have that crystalline shape and that cage-like structure, it also carries a negative charge. So because of zeolite's cage-like structure and its negative charge, it has the ability to draw to itself and trap within itself a variety of different compounds, primarily heavy metals. Now, we use a zeolite called clinoptilolite. Clinoptilolite, because of its cage-like structure and the pore size of that particular zeolite, just loves toxic heavy metals like mercury and lead and cadmium and arsenic. And it doesn't like the good metals like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium. It's really good at separating out the good from the bad. The reason is the smaller the metal and the higher the charge, the greater the affinity for the zeolite. So it just so happens that all the things that are bad for us are small with a high charge, and all things that are good for us are bigger with a lower charge. So even though clinoptilolite has this huge history of traditional medicine, traditional use in detoxification and things like that, we know there's problems with it. When I first started looking at zeolites in the 90s, I looked at clinoptilolite and I looked at some products that were basically capsules or powders that had the clinoptilolite in it, and I knew there were problems with it. The first problem is it was too big. The powder that comes out of a zeolite mine site is usually anywhere from 5 microns to 200 microns, like a rough granular sand. That's way too big to be absorbed from the digestive tract into the bloodstream. I came up with my first process, a micronization process. So using high pressure and centrifugation, I crush the zeolite over and over and over again to make it smaller and smaller and smaller, where my average particle size is smaller than a micron, and the smallest particles are as small as 390 nanometers, 0.39 microns. That's certainly small enough to be absorbed from the digestive tract into the bloodstream. Now, since I launched my zeolite, there's been dozens of competitors that came to market, and they all claim the same thing. They use my research and my studies to try to support their products. But in every one of these cases, we've not been able, in any single case, to identify zeolite in the bloodstream of people using those products. So we don't know if that even gets in. We just haven't seen it. The second problem with the natural zeolites is that they're dirty. Zeolites are really good at sucking up toxins and heavy metals. So even in the zeolite mine site, anytime air blows through that mine site and water flows through it, the zeolite's sucking up all those toxins and heavy metal. And if you don't do some sort of cleaning process, that's in the finished product. Now, I'm not saying they're dangerous because the zeolite is so good at holding on to them, it's not exchanged out to the body. But if it's already full of all those high affinity compounds, how much can it take out of your body? How much detoxifying can it do? So in our lab, we came up with our activation process. We used high heat and ultra purified water and natural acids to first drive off the volatile organic compounds, and then to force the exchange of heavy metals for good metals. So the best analogy I can come up with this process is look at a kitchen sponge. So if the sponge is dirty, if it's full of stuff, how clean is it going to be able to get your kitchen, get your counters? But if you take it to the sink and you rinse it out and clean it out, squeeze it out, now it's got tons of room, tons of space in it to be able to clean your kitchen. That's kind of what we do with our proprietary micronization activation process. And I have to tell you, no one else does this. Since I launched my zeolite product, my first commercial zeolite product in 2004, we've been knocked off dozens of times. And we've looked at every one of those products. And in many cases, we can't even find zeolite in the product at all. And when we do, it's something that hasn't been micronized or activated. In many cases, people say they don't have to activate the zeolite because it comes from a pure source. Well, there's no such thing. There's no pure place or pristine place left on Earth. When we clean out the zeolite, we actually measure what comes out of it. And in one batch, we saw some volatile organic compounds come out. We measured it, and it came back as diesel fuel exhaust, which means even the manufacturing equipment that's mining the zeolite is creating toxins that are being pulled into the zeolite. So unless you're doing a process like ours, an activation process, that stuff is in the final product. Now, our product has actually been around since 2004. It's the subject of 15 clinical studies, and 3 of the studies we actually wrapped up into one study that was published in a peer-reviewed journal, and that study is available. But we've looked at this time and time and time again for its benefits, and the 3 major benefits are pretty basic. It removes toxins and heavy metals from the body, therefore making the body healthier, and a cleaner, healthier body fixes itself. The second thing is through that activation process, we actually help stabilize pH, and we make the body more alkaline. And you want the body in alkaline state, which puts it into an antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer state. And then lastly, it helps support and stabilize your immune system because of those other mechanisms. This product is something that when people find out about it, everybody wants it. Everybody needs it. Everybody on the planet, and this is the only place to get it.
Thank you, Rick. Isn't he wonderful? Okay, so let's look one more time here into Cell Defender. As a recap, it removes toxins from the blood and the lymph system. It raises the body's pH and supports the immune system. It purifies, it's manufactured in a 3-day, 34-step process to be purified and activated and micronized. Everybody needs it because we are all toxic. I want to add one of the other products. We have a few more products, but one of them I wanted to add today because we were talking about obesity and diabetes. And in these cases, Avini fiber is an absolutely necessary second product because it reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, which is of course linked to diabetes and obesity. It helps lower the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. It stabilizes healthy blood sugar. It supports healthy colon and gut, and it stimulates the growth of healthy bacteria, which means our gut grows a microbiome, which helps also our immune system. Plus, I have seen many fibers in my 35 years in the pharmacy. This is by far the best I've ever had in my hands. It's made with 3 different natural fibers. It's a carrot fiber, an oat fiber, and an apple fiber. Has inulin as prebiotic. It has guar gum to expand in the digestive system so that it also helps with weight loss significantly. And of course, it has wonderful micronized and activated clinoptilolite zeolite. Okay, so here is our hero, Rick Deitch. He's the formulator and CSO of Avini Health. He's a pharmaceutical and nutritional biochemist. He started his career actually in cancer treatment and research and development. And with his nutritional experience as well, he developed, I think, over 200 supplements as far as I know. And he has just tremendous experience and knowledge. He's like a walking bibliothèque, how do you say that in English? Library, a walking library, and 25 years of development of and he's a category creator of detoxolite, our clinoptilolite zeolite. Then we have Neil Roth here on the left. He's the CEO of Avini Health. He's a nuclear physicist. He has over 45 years of top executive positions in multi-billion-dollar companies. He has also a lot of experience in network marketing companies. And Doug Dickey is our VP of sales with 20 years experience as CEO and CFO in fertilizer and plant nutrition company, inventing high-tech, environmentally safe products. Here they are again. Avini Health was founded on May 1st in 2022. We just had our second birthday a while ago. The facility is FDA and CGMP regulated, and it's in Boca Raton. Here's a little view on the facility. And now the big question, why direct marketing? Well, there are 3 answers right away that come into my mind. One of them is the products need explaining, just like I'm explaining right now. We can't just pull it out of a shelf. People wouldn't know what it is about. Then we want to make sure that there is no external interference, so our products stay in the exceptional high quality that they're in now, and nobody comes in and says, oh, we want to have more, we want to make more money, so dumb the products down. That's the second reason. And the third reason is very much in my favor because everybody benefits. So we all are hope sellers, hope dealers, and not dope dealers. Let's stick to that. Avini Health was designed to take out what doesn't belong in the body and substitute what we lack in the highest quality and the most effective dose. These are the additional products. I always have to scooch everybody over so I can see everything. These are the other products besides Cell Defender and Avini Fiber. We have a nanosilver, which takes out all the living thing we might have in our body, from viruses, bacteria, fungus, and pesticides, all of these things. The immunity mushrooms to help our immune system. We have the plus relief against pain, and new products are plus mind and vision and plus cardio, and plus hydration to replenish our cells with hydration. And our pets don't have to suffer either. They get plus relief and Cell Defender as well, because they are affected just like us, if not more, because they are so close to the ground, and many of the surfaces are treated with arsenic. So many pets have high arsenic levels. And that's why I'm very happy that I can feed my little schnupsel here, or give my little schnupsel Cell Defender as well. That's us in Las Vegas, and right at the second anniversary of the company, and one more look to our to Neil Roth and Rick Deitch. And I strongly believe that we were created to make a difference, and with Avini we are in a life-changing business. It's a blessing to do that. So what's your next step? Learn more. Get back to the person who invited you here. Do you want to start expanding your health span and your lifespan by becoming a customer? Or do you want to be a member and expand your lifespan and health span just like in point 2, and also be a blessing for others and start spreading hope in the world? Okay, once again, retail customer, member, or a distributor. That means you share the products with others while you stay healthy yourself. Thank you very much. And please get back to the person who invited you. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop this screen share here. All right. Any questions? Any feedback?
This was terrific. Is there going to be, there were other people who couldn't be here, so is this going to be on a website somewhere that they can go watch it?
Yes, it's recorded. I'm actually going to stop the recording right now. And hold on, I'm going to do that.